Because I'm paranoid something awful is going to happen every single time.
No, we should be good. It should be fun.
Are we good? Are we good?
We're back on the old setup for those connoisseurs of the show. When you see the border, you know that we're on our main streaming rig. That's because I fixed my old fucking boy.
He did a Neo, he did a Matrix, and did it on his own.
I fully fucking
cyberpunked it.
I took my computer died. I took it to a place. They were going to charge me £220 to fix the power supply. I bought a £20 power supply on Amazon and managed to do it myself. And then I also upgraded the RAM to 32 gigs and fucking upgraded the drive to a bigger C drive as well.
If you liked the music on our holding screen as well, Jake's been a busy bee this week since he had a week off. And I've just been coming home every day to the sounds of ambient jungle music and Jake in his underwear.
Yes, that has definitely been the week.
Big clouds of weed. Big clouds of weed.
Yes, lots of smoking, lots of making tunes this week, which has been good because it makes me sad all the time when I've got my computer is not working and I can't make any music. So I was very happy that I was able to get it working. And yeah, as you heard, we was able to make some cool tunes this week. I was pretty chuffed with it anyway. I'm
writing a lot more than I ever have. My new current job requires me to write more than I ever have. I'm also starting the book. I'm working on a new video essay for the channel as well. So I'm like completely busy to the bone at the moment. And it's weird because Jake is the one that's normally the ultra stressed, busy one. But this week you've just like been in your fucking jack off chair. Smoking weed and making ambient jungle music.
Yeah, I mean everyone needs weeks like that. I feel like everyone needs weeks like that where they can just do the thing that they're after. I was really gutted, to be honest. Even on my week off, because I'm going to be super busy for the next few weeks with various work things. So I'm probably not going to get to go to my Pokemon League for the next 3 weeks.
Sad.
And I fucking was an absolute mug and got so high that I forgot to buy my ticket for the fucking Thursday night league, and then went to buy it on the Thursday, and
you're jeopardizing our trip to Japan, Jake.
I know. I've got to put the fucking numbers in. I've got to put the hours in, and I'm lagging, and I'm sorry. Okay, but I'm trying my best. So
well, that's what's been going on in old Jake and Angie land is me being stressed out and writing lots, and Jake being in his underwear in his jack off chair.
Oh my goodness.
I'm glad you don't have a gaming chair.
Why? I was kind of looking at one. There was a cool Game of Thrones
There's
one.
There's no way that you'd ever bring something like that into our house.
There's like a luxury gaming chair that was all Game of Thrones, and it said like, prepare for what is it? Not prepare for winter. I was such a fucking spurky Game of Thrones fan, and I can't even remember the fucking main motto.
What, winter is
coming. That's it. Not fucking prepare for winter.
Wow, Jake. And you look like Jon Snow as well, so it's even more of a fucking disappointment.
That's like the
you're like the Soviet Russian
Soviet knockoff fucking Game of Thrones. Prepare for winters.
Oh my god. You could do like a Soviet knockoff Jon Snow. It'd be wonderful.
Mate, I was fucking Poundland Russell Brand until this week, and now I'm gonna be, what did you say? Soviet
Jon Snow.
Soviet Jon Snow, yeah. I'll go from Poundland Russell Brand to Soviet Jon Snow. That feels definitely...
Did you consider cutting your hair after the scandal?
No.
Emerged.
Just because Russell Brand's a rapist doesn't mean that,
Well, it's only allegations, bruh.
Okay,
it's just allegations,
allegedly.
Bruh. Jesus.
Fucked a 16-year-old when he was
I think
30.
you're mad because I had a crush on him, which is why you're like, yes, he's condemned. He's damned to hell.
He's a naughty boy, and you shouldn't pay any attention to him.
It was so funny this weekend because we went to your cousin's 30th, and your dad was there, and he was like laughing the whole time, comparing you to Russell Brand and Noel Fielding.
Yeah, great.
And now that like association will forever be cemented.
Yeah, brilliant.
It's great. It's wonderful.
I mean, it's just it's pretty gross, isn't it? The whole situation. Even if all the other bad things are alleged and stuff.
Well, no, I think that it's psychological guilt. And sorry to bring up Jung, as I always do, guys.
Here we go.
It has to happen. But yeah, Jung said this really interesting thing, because I was reading this essay this week on Jung and guilt and the notion of like collective guilt. And he talks about how there's like legal guilt, which is dealt with by courts of law, moral guilt, which is dealt with by, churches, religious organizations, whatever. But then there's psychological guilt, which is just sort of a fact of existence. Whenever something bad happens, guilt sort of floods like a miasma surrounding like whatever incident it is, and it spreads. And it doesn't matter whether you personally feel guilty or not, or whether you even should feel guilty. It's just sort of there.
It's just as what it is.
Yeah, and especially because Jung sees the psyche as like real, as a very real thing. I think this idea is very interesting, just to see how that sort of flow of stigma happens once like stuff comes out. I guess that sort of is a perfect segue into our first topic of the night. I found this really Orwellian, hideous website called Creepsheet.
Oh yeah, did you send me the link?
Hang on, I think I need to.
We're
so badly prepared.
Didn't even send me the link. I thought we were going to do Zucky's.
We'll do that
updates.
after. We'll do that after, because this is a good segue into that topic. Okay. But yeah, it was a fella at work who sent me this, and it's basically a website that someone has compiled with every single person who has like ever been accused of sexual assault in the media and in academia even.
Wow. So you can see if your professor's handsy
yeah. Hang on, I'm sending Jake the link now. I'm such a naughty. There we go. So bad. Okay. We got it. Okay, so basically every single celebrity, politician, whatever you can imagine who's ever, of course Boris Johnson is like that.
Boris Johnson, unsurprising. I mean, should we just like go through this and see who's surprising, who's not?
I'm just surprised.
And who actually even recognized? Oh, Conor McGregor.
Even
obviously.
the actual the allegations are also listed beneath the person's picture.
Yeah.
Like, this is
groping, sexual harassment, Bob Barker.
It doesn't matter the severity. They're all lined up, with each other as if it's all the same. It's like additions. Weird. It's so fucking scary and weird.
Recent additions.
You can submit, like, go up to the top of the website.
Yeah.
There's literally a submissions. You can suggest and submit people to this like fucking weird.
Is missing an entry, please get in touch and
I need to report you.
Update the list with us.
I'm gonna send a picture of your face.
It's not nice to put anyone on lists, is it?
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's Orwellian and like dystopian and fucking weird. And then if you look at their,
we've got a lady governor doing unwanted groping. Wow. I mean, you don't hear that every day, do you?
That's the danger of this sort of list. Is it's like it's juicy because human beings love gossip and we love like.
Look at the Chris D'Elia allegations. I mean,
oh my god, it's a huge
sexual
list.
Harassment, solicitation of child pornography, sex with minors, exposing himself without permission. That is quite a lot. I mean, it's shorter than Marilyn Manson's, which is just wrapped up as sexual abuse, which it feels like, I don't know, it feels like this long list.
Vague and weird.
But
that's what I'm saying is you have people who have just like sort of vague allegations that haven't been verified, put alongside people who have actually been convicted or have legal cases that are, that are mounted against them. It's insane. It's like really Orwellian. And even at the top, if you look, they have like a legal section. And there's this really funny thing written there, our standards. If you click on that tab.
Our standards.
At the bottom it says...
is a list of public figures accused of sexual assault and sexual harassment. We only use mainstream credible news publications as sources. The site does not contain original research, does not republish poorly sourced rumours, and does not include allegations against people who are not of public interest. The Creepsheet does not publish allegations of non-sexual violence or consensual affairs, unless one party is considered unable to give consent due to age or other circumstances.
No, this is the important part. It says, note that in most cases, the allegations listed here have not been proved or disproved in court proceedings, which is just so dystopian. Like that's not how shit works. Like you're not guilty. You're not guilty as you're being led into court, and then you have to like disprove your guilt. That's not how fucking shit works. You're innocent until fucking proven guilty.
The submit suggestion, that means basically you can just submit like a link to like The Guardian or something saying about another recent scandal. It's not like you can be like, oh, I went to an Elton John gig and he touched my bum.
Oh my goodness.
And then like, you know,
Mario Lopez.
Who's Mario Lopez?
He's the guy from not Fresh Prince, Saved by the Bell.
I was gonna say he's definitely not from Fresh Prince, is he? He's the wrong colour, dude. Like.
Just a shade of brown too light. To a shade of brown too light. No,
well,
he was
Latinx. He's not.
No, he's not a Negroid. African.
He's a Latinx.
No,
with the last name Lopez. Come on.
No, he was in what's it called? Saved by the Bell.
Oh, okay.
That's the thing. Dear. That's the thing. Is this sort of dirty, salacious nonsense? It really appeals to.
All right. Well, let's just
have a very human side of us.
Joe Biden.
That likes
sexual
gossip.
harassment twice on Joe Biden.
Exhibit A. See Jake here. He loves the tea.
There we go.
Jake has a Gemini moon, so he loves the tea.
Elon Musk.
He's eating it right up. I don't know. I just find this kind of thing disturbing, and I even though it's like juicy, I don't want to like indulge in it.
Cuba Gooding Jr. groping. He's such a sweet guy. I mean, I can't imagine him doing a bad groping. Maybe he did. Who knows? This site isn't the one to be the judge.
That's horrible. That's what I'm saying
to
about.
Let people know that you're possibly potentially.
But that's what I'm
really
saying about.
Person.
Is this psychological guilt thing? Is it spreads like a miasma? And that's what this stuff is meant to do: is to hang this cloud of suspicion over people. And it's because of the whole gender war thing. Right. It's this idea that men, even though there's like a few women on this website, which I find quite interesting.
Let's see what it says on Boris Johnson's website. Let's see.
I feel like it's because men. It's the idea that men are, secretly perverse, and it's only this thin veneer of civilization that stands between them and like rape. And it's like this idea that we're constantly at odds with each other, and this is like the stuff that people use to reinforce this notion.
It says what you're accused of, and then just like a bunch of references.
Yeah.
Should we see what it says on Russell Brand's page now? Just
oh my god. It's like it's horrible. It's like a non-legal.
No matches for Russell Brand.
It's like
absolutely crazy.
It's a non-legal sex offenders registry, basically.
Maybe the creep sheet's trying to clear his name. They're just like, no, Russell is not on our list. He's actually not a sexual harasser. He's not a bad panda. The deep state are after him. It is known. Do you think so?
It is known. But yeah, I also think that, because there's been a huge reckoning at the moment, and it seems like no celebrity is safe, especially like old school celebrities who made it the old school way. Because now influencers are the thing. And I feel like old school celebrities don't have as loyal a fan base, because like with influencers and streamers and stuff, people who you see on your screens every week who influence you, who have you under their spell, there's that sort of closer connection. And you have fans and that sort of thing being a lot more loyal because they see it as like a form of companionship. Whereas these sort of far off remote celebrities, I feel like they're more vulnerable now than ever because things are sort of shifting.
Alfred Hitchcock. They're trying to come for Alfred Hitchcock.
I love that's all you care about is like who's on this fucking sheet.
Andy Dick, obviously. Andy Dick's got to have a crazy amount of references. There's only 2 references, dude. Andy Dick is like one of the most notorious sexual deviants in Hollywood. How the fuck is there only literally like 2 references?
Why don't you just make your own creep sheet, Jake? Why don't you go and like print it out and get like a fucking Sharpie and go through it?
Oh, dude, this was the Kangaroo Jack guy I was telling you about.
Oh my god, that came out this week, didn't it?
This is the Kangaroo Jack guy.
Oh, I don't want to.
He was in Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle as well. That's where I recognise him from.
I don't want to think about that,
Oh dear.
That's someone from our childhood. It's just like gross to look at.
A caterer accused Anderson of sexual assault. Oh dear.
All Jake cares about is the tea.
Oh dear.
In any given situation.
I mean, it's always the sweetest thing. Don't you think?
Is it now?
Don't you think the tea is always the sweetest thing?
No, I don't, Jake.
Why?
Because I have principles.
Oh. Let's see what the tea is. Come on. Kelsey Grammer, dude, sex with a 15-year-old babysitter? That is fucking wild.
There's no way.
Not fucking Frasier, dude. Frasier's fucking children. This is crazy. A grand jury refuses to indict Frasier star on sex charge.
Yeah, a lot of this
1995.
stuff has been,
So he was
a
like,
lot of
he
this
was
stuff
in,
has been like, disproven or blah blah blah. Like
he was having scandals like literally in the heat of Frasier when Frasier was like the biggest show going.
I had no idea that was the case.
He was charged, or they refused to indict him on a sex charge of like fucking a 15-year-old girl. That feels wild. Frasier couldn't have been that popular. That's nuts.
That's crazy. Wow.
I'm trying to find Russell Brand's page. Oh, Kevin Spacey. There we go.
He got acquitted. Society is malfunctioning, guys. Like, things are really fucked up.
Shall we see if they've updated his page? So, look at the amount of references for Kevin Spacey, and you're telling me that fucking Andy Dick only had 2 links? Like, this is crazy. This is crazy.
That's what I'm saying. Why don't you create your own creep sheet, Jake? Like, this one looks a bit dodgy. Dude, this one looks like a pedo, so I'm gonna fucking put him in the pedo category.
You do know that Roger from American Dad is largely based upon Andy Dick as a real life character.
Oh my god!
They even have the whole episode where they have Andy Dick and Roger, and it's like there's 2 Rogers. That's the whole joke.
Yeah.
Like. he's such a known sexual deviant, and his deviancy is known so well that it's based off a main popular fucking cartoon character.
Very true. Very true.
2
Very
links.
true.
It's not giving him his due.
Oh my god, Louis C.K.
Luc Besson, isn't he the guy that did
oh my god, that weird guy from Glee. He was actually guilty though, which is what I'm saying is you have people on this fucking list who have had vague accusations made against them, and then people who are like legitimately had their hard drive searched by the FBI. So it's like, this is like Orwellian, and it's getting weird. Like, cancel culture is getting fucking weird as shit, dude. Like, it's
Wait,
it's
they
mutating.
have that Nev guy from friggin' Catfish.
Oh my god, no way. He tries to be the best, goodest lib. He tries to be like the most well-behaved lib. He wears all these like woke t-shirts, and he's like this like humble California guy or whatever.
Dude, Catfish got cancelled because of his sexual harassment claims.
I had no idea.
See, this website's full of gold, man. This website is like full of gold.
You're terrible.
Keeping you updated with all the latest
until you end up on there one day. Until you end up on there one day.
Oh wait, there was sorry, I keep going to the next page and then going back. Morgan Freeman, wasn't there some really creepy shit where like he was like
his granddaughter or something? Yeah. Oh god.
And it's just sexual harassment. They don't mention anything about the daughter.
What about the academia section of this?
Oh, you want to have a look at that?
Yeah, the naughty professors.
Let me just try and find Russell quickly. NMRSR. There's no Russell Brand page. I feel like this website is fucking out of date.
It might be. What was I saying? Yeah.
Cool on there.
There's also a
academia.
Academia.
Where was it? Politics and government. Oh, all categories. Here we go.
Yeah.
Oh my god, there's so many. Tech, theatre, music, religion.
Oh my gosh.
Academia.
The tech one would be funny.
Alan Dershowitz, top of the list.
Oh my gosh.
Fair enough, dude.
Oh my gosh.
Sexual contact with a 16-year-old girl. Yeah, I think there's a lot worse than that, brother. He was like fucking Epstein's right hand man.
Yeah.
I'm not even joking.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who I'm gonna know less names on this list.
Yeah.
You might know more names on this list than me.
I probably won't,
totally
be totally honest.
We
but
just
even
like keep
then,
scrolling and then we just like Slavoj Žižek. Oh no!
No.
Oh, see, like that's it. That's like it's a pretty short list.
That's my dream, though.
They're just waiting to slap Jordan Peterson on the creep sheet. They're just
perched, waiting to fucking put Jordan Peterson on the creep sheet.
Should we see the religion one? So I'm probably going to know absolutely nobody.
Deepak Chopra? No way.
There you go. You know some people on there. Who's Deepak Chopra?
He's like
isn't he like a guru mystic, or something?
Yeah.
Who is spiritual leader?
Well, it's not surprising.
1996, the former employee filed a sexual harassment lawsuit against Chopra, alleging he made numerous unwelcome sexual overtures. That's a very polite way of putting it. Damn.
He said horny things.
He said many horny things and tried to make advances that were unwelcome. But again, it's not a massive list like the media or like, you know what I mean? The media is like 8 pages. Academia and religion is like 1 page each.
But even then, I don't know. My whole
fashion. I bet this is going to be a few pages in fashion, surely. Alexander Wang. I recognize that name. Isn't he a
oh my
fashion
gosh,
designer?
of course, Jake.
Gianni Versace, sexual harassment.
Of course, no surprise there.
Peter Nygaard, I seem to recognize that name.
Yeah, that was recent as well. That was like he got
Terry
done.
Richardson.
Oh yeah, Terry Richardson's like the legendary sort of.
Again, let's see how many links he's got. I bet they're gonna Andy Dick Terry Richardson. He was like,
give him 2 links.
Oh, what's going on?
Uh-oh. Are we having a malfunction?
Oh my goodness, my Microsoft Edge is having a fucking moment. My Microsoft Edge is edging out, bro.
It's fine anyway. We can just talk, or is it working now?
Is it still on the stream? This is the big question. Yeah, there we go.
Are we still live? Okay,
we're all good.
Yeah. What, Terry Richards? Yes, he's got
5 links. 5 links feels like more appropriate than Andy Dick.
Yeah, he's got links. Plenty of links. But I don't know. It's weird because obviously all these like, you know, fan culture people are turning against their senpais. But I feel like in the world of influencers and stuff, scandals happen, but they blow over really quickly.
Hunter S. Thompson?
Oh, of course, Hunter S. Thompson had some sort of allegation against him. Like, I think any like man who was like, you know,
3 links,
promiscuous in any way probably would have some sort of allegation.
But then
lingering in the background.
In 1997, Thompson was charged of violently groping a woman, declined as sexual advances. Thompson stated that the woman was drunk and that she was the one who made aggressive sexual advances. Prosecuted eventually asked for dismissal of the charges, believing that their case was not strong enough to win.
Oh my god.
My boy did nothing wrong. Even if he's on the creep show.
Oh my god. It's so bad. But yeah, like I was saying, like in the world of influencers and stuff, scandals do happen, but they tend to blow over very quickly, and also they get forgiven very quickly. Like James Charles had some like Epstein level allegations against him, and it was this huge scandal.
He was like grooming kids?
Yeah, like that kind of shit.
Oh my god.
But then he's still around, and like nothing, he's not been quote unquote cancelled or whatever. But then when it comes to celebrities and like old school celebrities, people who got famous the old school way, it seems like there's a reckoning happening there, and I think it's almost a way of like purging them and getting rid of them. It's like human tribal sacrifice, whatever. And also people, I guess, coming to terms with how, you know, power operates behind, you know, closed doors, which is like a major theme of everything going on right now. Even with like the UFO disclosure stuff, the whole point behind that is the idea that like we have insanely corrupt governments that have been hiding the truth from us or whatever. Mm-hmm. This idea that truth is like concealed and that there's a dark hidden kind of thing behind power structures. It's kind of like in the zeitgeist right now, and that sort of this whole celebrity reckoning, sexual assault allegations, the idea of people who have like had our admiration and our love for so long being outed as monsters. This sort of thing is like people are hungry for this kind of thing at the moment. It's like so juicy to them. And then also, I don't know, what does it say about sexuality and promiscuity as well? Because of course there are the ones who did commit the crimes and did bad things. You
can have one slip up and end up on a list.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. There's also the people who are just promiscuous, and you know who through their promiscuity disappoint other people, harm other people in an emotional sense or whatever. And then the people who feel harmed by that person want to sort of lash out about that.
Yeah.
But even then, I don't think that promiscuity is like a crime. Even though it can cause issues in society, it's not necessarily a crime. Some people are just that way. And then also...
well, as you said, like Kevin Spacey was cleared for a bunch of the stuff that he was on the list for.
Yeah.
But that is not updated.
Yeah.
So it's just like all of the criminations, but then there's not as much emphasis to put on actually like, oh no, we got this one wrong, guys. And actually this is the lessons we should learn from like trying to be getting too invested in these stories and jumping the gun. It's just
weird because it's like this, like the sex panic, but at the same time we're hyper saturated in sex with porn and all of the shit that we, you know, have around us advertising, everything's sort of saturated in sex and sexuality. But yeah, there's this like huge sex panic, and also promiscuity, particularly male promiscuity, is like really frowned upon. Or a male desire in general is seen as predatory in a way that even with young boys, like really, really young boys, I hadn't really noticed this, but it's seen as predatory and like dangerous in a way that it hasn't been in a long time. And also sexual forwardness. And I was thinking about this the other day, like as a femoid or whatever, like I've been pretty sexually forward my whole life. And I was thinking if I was a dude, like I would get in trouble.
Be a red flag. You'd be on the.
I'd be on the creep sheet. I think I'd be on the fucking creep sheet.
You'd be on the creep sheet doing inappropriate, violent groping.
That's how I got you. You know? That's how I got you. It was the inappropriate violent groping. But I don't know. I've never felt like hang-ups around being sexually forward in that way, or like
because
expressing desire.
But that is that's good.
But for guys, I feel like they can't do that. It's like
for men, there is definitely like, I don't know. There's like that healthy balance, isn't there, of sort of not disrespecting women and sort of like shouting lewd things at them in the street, but also like still feeling comfortable and confident to
expressing
be able to approach
desire,
a woman in whatever situation. And half of that is certainly on like you and like your relationship with women and being a social person and all of that stuff. But then the other half of it definitely is kind of the social expectations of interactions and kind of the initial reception of those things. And
I feel like with Russell Brand, especially for a lot of young guys, he represented like a type of masculinity that stood outside of traditional sort of masculine.
Well, he was the kind of anti-Joe Rogan in lots of ways. Because like, even though he would still talk about conspiracy theories and that kind of stuff, he was like not a meathead. He was not a jock. He has only really recently kind of started doing this whole jiu-jitsu thing himself. Because it's like the cool thing now. And I don't know if that's just because all of his buddies are doing that.
It's the cool thing now among the like, it's so weird. But we'll get to the tech elite later on. But he did. He represented that. He also sort of had this mercurial masculinity, and along with that comes that kind of sexual boundarylessness. And that's an archetype I feel that is going to be less manifest because I don't know. There's a shadow. There's the positive side of it in terms of its like energy, its humor, all of these things. But there's also like the shadow side of it as well.
I feel,
and we don't like that aspect of it as a society. We like condemn it very strongly.
Well, we want to get rid of any kind of figures that have any kind of vices, essentially. Like every kind of role model now needs to be completely clean and sober,
vegan,
and like
smoothie.
Do you know what I mean? Like they've gotten rid of people like Hunter S. Thompson. Like you can't have a figure like Hunter S. Thompson anymore because of culture's attitude towards drugs.
Well, not just that. Even with Russell Brand, I feel like the
losers won, man. Basically.
Like when I was
with the whole conversation with drugs, that's why you can't have a Hunter S. Thompson anymore, because the fucking narcs won.
But no, it's because things, like I was saying, psychological guilt and Sigma spreads. It just spreads, and like even with this whole Russell Brand situation, part of what has been the sort of collateral damage around it is that all the things that he's associated with have also sort of caught the stigma. And it's like that's how it works. It's like it's a fact of the psyche, and we don't know how to deal with it, and we don't have any mechanisms to deal with psychological guilt, and we have really pathological ways of dealing with it. And even if it's been dealt with legally and morally, that like stigma still hangs around, which is kind of what Jung talked about. And I feel like especially with young men now who looked up to people like Russell Brand, and all this rape panic, and young men are dangerous, their sexuality, their desire, they're dangerous, they're also catching wave of that psychological guilt miasma that's like traveling over everything. And it's horrible. Guilt is a terrible emotion. It's a self-annihilating emotion. Like feeling guilty is something that makes you want to not exist. It's like death drivey. It pushes you towards the death drive. So that's why I feel like it's part of the reason why we're kind of mental cut right now as a society, because we just like keep spreading guilt and stigma. and we have no way of dealing with it, reeling it back, analyzing it, looking at it, and putting it back where it belongs. We just let it spread and metastasize, and it's like, dude,
we just have to round up all those guilty people.
That's literally it. Get rid of due process, guys.
Like, make a new city in the middle of Australia.
No, just make an even bigger creep sheet,
well,
dude.
we've always historically,
make an even bigger creep sheet.
Put all the criminals.
Yeah.
And then we just put them all in Australia.
Yeah. Why not?
Simple.
We could just rename Australia to Creep Sheet.
All the cancelled people. That's what you do. You just put them to the cancelled camp.
Exactly.
In the middle of Australia.
Exactly.
Where there's no running water.
But it feels like where we're headed. And also the due process aspect of it is frightening in that sense. And it's not, I don't know, people don't really seem to care much about it. Like...
No, because it's not like...
Because the gossip is the tea is juicy, and then also the primal part of us that like wants the.
But to be fair, I think think Piers Morgan made this point, and I don't tend to. Maybe I'm just getting to the age where occasionally I'll agree with Piers Morgan. That's kind of what maybe is happening.
It's happening. You're reaching that age.
Piers Morgan did say something that did seem to make sense the other day.
He's turning into an old white man. This is what happens when they like reach 30. Oh my goodness.
Which was that, like, he was just posing the question of, do you think it's fair that all of like stories like this, like around Russell Brand and like all of these things, can just go out as like the story as it is without there being that kind of due process first? Sorry. Because basically once that story is out, as you said, the stigma will be there forever.
Yeah.
And even if it is then proven later in court, that's still going to be kind of like part of the story. And so should there be sort of something in place to actually, you can't publicly run with stories like that until they have been settled by some kind of actual like official adjudication, or like a preliminary adjudication. You can do a full trial behind before, without the press and that kind of stuff.
I'm actually learning about all this stuff about the press and how it works and all this shit in my current job right now. I don't have like an in-depth knowledge. Like, I'm literally just at the beginning of learning about it. But even we have to be careful about what we say, because like if a case is going on, we could be held in contempt of court for saying certain things. Like, there are a lot of like rules around things like that. So I am surprised that what happened was journalistically or ethically
those
like
rules and they run with that story. Doesn't that put more credibility on that story though? Isn't that kind of, but then also isn't that shaping public opinion more because of things like that?
Exactly.
Because like,
it's hard to know. It's fucking it's like a fucking Charlotte's Web of like clusterfuckery.
But I did think that was a good point that he made. Like, do you just like come out and you're like bang, but then you're saying that there are lots of rules and sort of things in the behind the scenes that you wouldn't necessarily know about as an average person anyway. So maybe those things are already there.
I have no idea. I wish I did know. It's hard to know. But it's weird. It's weird.
Do you want to see what we're going to look like in the future?
Let's do it. Let's go.
Do you want to see what we're going to look like in the future?
Wait, no. We have one more horny thing to talk about.
Oh, okay. More horny conversation. About what?
The lady who is the congresswoman or whatever who was jacking the guy off.
Oh, yeah. So
that was kind of funny.
There was this lady. Hang on, let me.
Is she a congresswoman?
Yeah, I think so. Hang on, it says it on the thing. So there was this lady, and Lauren Bobart and she was caught jacking off a fella at the theatrical production of Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
Which I find
woman
quite
after my own heart.
Yeah, that is quite funny.
Isn't she like a Republican?
She is a representative. She's a Republican. So what is she? GOP Republican. I don't know what all of those things mean. What does GOP mean? Does that mean that she's in Congress? Does that mean that she's just in a party? What does that?
The GOP is the Republican Party.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So she's like a GOP something. I don't know what she is,
but she was. It's pretty funny, and I don't know.
She was like forced to apologize. Like, America's so weird, and now people are making porn of her in the same way they made porn of Sarah Palin. But then political porn seems like Tim Dillon was saying it this morning. It seems to be a thing that brings Americans together. But I think that's so weird because it's like they hate their politicians because their politicians represent their elite.
I mean,
they fucking resent them so much, but at the same time, they're like jacking off to them.
I wouldn't say
it's
it even
bizarre.
just brings Americans together,
so
because
bizarre.
I remember when that
Nail and
Palin porn came out, like in 2012 or something around then. It feels like probably is it appropriate time. I don't know. Should we Google it? Should we Google when Nail and Palin came out?
It was like, I think it was
but it was like an
Mayan calendar.
It was like an internet fucking meme, dude. So like it was sort of like, it was a meme that you could literally jack off to. So like, I don't know, like it's not just Americans. That's the thing. It's like everyone's in on the joke. Everyone's in on the joke.
Of course, because American politics have like sort of taken over everything. But even then, like we're not the type that get horny about our politicians. But now that's starting to happen. Channel 4 recently released a fucking weird reenactment thing of Cheesegate. And for those of you in our American audience who are unaware, this is during lockdown when like a bunch of Tory politicians got together and had like a cheese and wine party.
Yeah.
Even though they told us to like stay in our houses and like
they said everyone to miss Christmas and don't see your like relatives that could be dying in the hospital and stuff.
Yeah.
And don't worry, bro.
So Channel 4...
No parties going on here.
So Channel 4 did like a reenactment of this like alleged Cheesegate party. And it's like really horny. Like they're like rubbing up against each other. Like it's like dripping in all this sexual innuendo and stuff. So we've started to take on the habit of Americans where we like despise our politicians, we resent them, they're symbols of evil, but at the same time we're like horny for
we're making them sexy.
Yeah, it's like this. Even the whole dishy rishy thing, like I was so surprised at that because that's not us, that's not what we do in the UK, but we seem to sort of absorb all of the American pathology.
Mate, democracy is dead. Do you know what I mean?
We're just like Romans, like thirsting, resenting our elites, but like thirsting after them at the same time.
This is like the end of, do you know what I mean? The end of it all. It's like all of the signs of the end of civilization are like coming around.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I feel like there's not a lot you're going to be able to do to stop any of it.
Yeah. Sorry, guys.
Do you reckon they? Oh my
over.
God! I bet. Did they have political porn in Roman times?
I'm pretty sure they probably had political pornography.
They fucking did.
Yeah.
I bet
well,
even
no. Even in like revolutionary France, they were making a really, really sordid pornographic images of like Marie Antoinette and her ladies, because it was part of the propaganda. They used to sort of demonize the royal family and stuff. It was like, oh, she's having, because she had the Petit Trianon, and it was kind of a scandal for the queen to have a private residence away from the palace. Mm-hmm. So of course the public imagines she's having orgies. Like if you look at, because they were like these sort of cartoon satirists. If you look at the cartoons, they're like really crazy, and it's
Should
like
we try and find some.
Yeah, it's projection. I don't know. We can't show them on YouTube, dude. There's like huge cocks and like fucking.
We're how many minutes in? We're half an hour in. We're all right, man.
Are you sure? Yeah, no, please don't get us. Like we're almost at the level of subscribers where we can get monetized and stuff. So like, don't fuck us up.
Marie Antoinette
cartoons. I don't know if it's going to show us the authentic ones from that period.
Here we go. It looks like
they make fun of her hair a lot in these cartoons because she used to have quite elaborate hairstyles. And they
this one with like the two-headed goat cat thing?
Chimera. Can they see? Have you put it on?
Yeah, they can see.
Okay, they can see. Okay.
Yeah.
No, I don't think we'll see any of the porny ones.
These all look quite modern.
Yeah.
Oh, it's Trump as Marie Antoinette. Eat. If you're rich, it doesn't matter.
Oh my God, that's so corny.
I mean,
oh God,
that does sound like something he would say. To be fair.
Oh God, but yeah, what was I saying? Yeah, it's like projection in a way where people are projecting their own depraved sexual psyche onto these figures of
onto the leaders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's not to say that the leaders aren't fucked up. Yes, they are, but like we are also, because I feel like a lot of people, not everyone obviously, but there are a lot of people who, if given power, would behave abhorrently.
Yeah, definitely.
And the only reason they don't is because they don't have the power to. Like, what was that joke that I think it was, who made it? Someone on Joe Rogan said that if Kanye was white, we would all be in trouble.
Oh yeah, because the ego needs to be
contained in a black man.
Otherwise, it would be the end of the world. We'd have like literally Hitler on our hands or something. It's thank God he's just a rapper. Like there's only so much damage he can do.
Thank God that the systemic racism is there to hold the ego.
Exactly.
The ego down in check.
All right, should we have a little look at what we're going to look like in the future?
Yeah, let's have a ganders then.
Or not even just the future, mate. It's like coming round the corner. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Here we go.
The following
God.
Mark Zuckerberg inside the metaverse. Mark and I are hundreds of miles apart from each other in physical space, but it feels like we're in the same room. Because
I'm sorry, he looks even more like a bug man. Like
well, as an NPC, as a detailed Skyrim NPC.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't really like Lex Friedman
honestly,
very much.
Okay, well, we're not here to personally bash Lex
just
Friedman.
Just because you like suck him off and you like
we're
are
here
in love with him.
to talk about what looks like the unveiling of the potential of the new interface, right? This is now like you've had Apple Vision Pro, you've had Metaverse and Meta working on these headsets and stuff for a really long time. So they have actually arguably a lot more experience than Apple do in terms of services, chat rooms, ecosystems, all of that kind of thing around virtual reality. And so if they've kind of seen the reaction to the Apple Vision Pro and then seen the kind of, people would be willing to ship out this kind of money and we could include these kind of LiDAR systems within our own stuff. And this means actually we can make this as like actually kind of the representation instead of, let me just pull up for comparison, the old pictures of what the metaverse looked like.
Oh my God. It was so fucking corny.
It looked like Mii's, didn't it?
Yeah.
It looked like Nintendo Mii's. So
just barely more sophisticated Nintendo Mii's. Sad. It's just like cheesy, like fucking there.
There we go. So that is what it used to look like, right?
Yeah.
And we've gone from that.
I think Nintendo Mii's are way cuter.
Where if you were just not even looking at that, you looked at that on a first glance. Yeah. You wouldn't even know that that's not Lex.
I didn't. Yeah, when I saw it, I couldn't differentiate between, because I thought it was a real until it sort of zoomed out, and I was like, okay, that we're in the uncanny valley right now. But then again, I thought it's just because it's Lex Friedman and that's how he looks.
Let's put it even on HD. Look, HD, dude. We were streaming.
Because he's sort of low affect and like.
We were streaming on potato settings. Even on HD, that looks incredible. That looks really like, if you were looking at that on a first glance, that really looks like Lex Friedman. Yeah. The legs, I'm still not convinced on the scale, and the legs, maybe it feels like maybe his feet are that big, but it feels like there's something kind of out of proportion towards the bottom of his legs. But that's pretty. He
looks kind of submissive and small. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know if it's the angle or
maybe
what
it's not. Maybe that is just. Like maybe that is literally just what he looks like, because it is like a proper full scan of his body look. He
needs to do more jujitsu.
So, okay, wait. Let's hear what he's saying so we can understand what's going on. I've seen skeleton bone things like this from other software that I've used for fun, silly projects and stuff. So this is fun.
Visual audio. This technology is incredible, and I think it's the future of how human beings connect to each other in a deeply meaningful way on the internet.
I don't know. I hate to poop on the parade, but just that sentence alone. That sentence alone makes my like skin crawl.
Dude, it looks like he's in the Matrix. Let's be
You're like,
fucking
shut the fuck
real
up,
right
bitch.
now.
Like it looks like he could be Neo.
It looks like he's
Morpheus could literally come out at any moment.
Yeah. It literally looks like that TV's about to
But you know
appear.
what? Instead of Morpheus, it's like Mark Zuckerberg, the demonic fucking son of the demiurge.
The demonic psychopomp.
Yeah.
of Mark Zuckerberg.
Yeah, the demonic psychopomp of like the new Aeon, who's here to trap your soul in a fucking horrible prison.
Let's get through a couple of minutes of this without you having a fucking
without me having
explosion.
a fucking Bene Gesserit run. Okay. Yeah. I'll try to calm myself.
The nuances of facial expressions that we humans use to communicate emotion to each other. Now, I Just need to work on it.
I'm sorry, but like I'm like it's like
What?
like it's just like I don't know, man.
What? You can't even articulate what's pissing you off
Like
right
it's
now.
just he's like, oh, the way we humans articulate, it's like so autistic. Like it's just so weird.
Oh man.
Like we
That's just his little
humans don't-
personality. Like you're so fucking mean.
Oh my god, cancelled. I just like lost Jake. I'm
Yeah.
cancelled. But that's what I mean. It's so unnatural and weird and uncanny. And he's like, this is like how us humans will connect and emote to each other. I'm like, no, mate. No, it isn't. No,
Well,
it's not. No, it fucking isn't.
Dude,
Okay.
it very well might be. So let's like have a look and pay attention,
All right.
shall
Okay.
we?
Okay. I'll stop. I'm sorry.
Right. Emotions, expressing capabilities of the underlying human.
Like, let's be honest also, my mind immediately goes, because I'm a fucking gamer with a capital G, my mind immediately goes to what would be possible with just a headset now and you playing an online game. Like, you could be playing Phasmophobia, like a game, like just to break it down into a game that you play with us and you have had fun with and stuff. You'd play Phasmophobia, but instead of like the weird, like, dead-eyed looking fucking like characters that you choose in Phasmophobia, it is like a scan like this of you and me like actually in the house and stuff. Wouldn't that elevate the fucking experience to like
Yeah,
another
sure,
fucking level and
sure,
shit?
sure.
Like the stuff like that would be so fucking cool. So even if
Sure.
it's not like, oh yeah, we're gonna put these on and have virtual Matrix chat rooms so that we can like connect with each other in a deep way, like fuck all that. There's a lot of fun to be had. with
Yeah.
technology like
Of
this.
course. Of course. Of
You know?
course. Of course.
This is the Lex Friedman podcast. And now, dear friends, here's Mark Zuckerberg.
It's so fucking scary.
Oh my god, dude.
Like, dude, that's like. Can you imagine putting on your VR headset?
That would exactly be my reaction though as well. As I'd be chuckling like fucking Seth Rogen. Like,
I'll be like, be gone, demon.
oh my god.
Be gone.
Lighting change? Wow.
Yeah, we can put the light anywhere.
He looks like a Red Dead Redemption character.
That's what I'm saying
Like,
though.
it literally looks
how
like,
detailed is
Yeah,
it though?
yeah.
It's absolutely insane.
And it doesn't feel awkward to be really.
Yeah, but it still is in the uncanny valley. Like, and his eyes are
It's
kind
not
of
in the uncanny
no, it
valley.
is. His eyes are kind of a bit dead already.
But that's just
IRL.
his face. He's
And
got
it just
dead
looks
eyes.
even more dead, and it's like freaking me out.
Oh my god,
Like,
dude.
it's bringing up hives.
I moved
Like, I don't need to be that close to his face. Like, it doesn't need to happen.
you were like right here.
I don't know if people can see this, but this is incredible. The realism here is just incredible.
It is, though. That's the thing. It really, really is. Like, I remember when you were playing Red Dead Redemption, and I was like, what is this stupid game that's, like, taking up all your time? But then you'd be there gazing at these gorgeous vistas, and I'd be like, that looks incredible. Like, it just was so beautifully detailed, and I was so surprised at, because I'm not a gamer girl. Sorry. Like, it's just not my thing.
Oh mate, could you imagine like a World of Warcraft that's kind of like Skyrim, but everybody's actually inhabiting the world, and everybody looked as high definition as this, but you were just literally like the blacksmith or the fucking like bartender in this fucking
Jake would never
in
leave.
Skyrim.
You'd be one of those schmoes in Westworld that
It'd
like
be fucking jokes. Well, it is. It's kind of like it's like a digital Westworld. This is like the potential for like a digital Westworld.
But
Things
my
like
whole
this,
thing is I'm
definitely.
quite skeptical because like Zucky seems to have had quite a few flops, and he's promised very big things as well that
Yeah.
have sort of had big trouble
Well, to try
or have had really sort of anticlimactic.
That's just the metaverse, and
yeah.
to try and deliver the whole metaverse is an insanely.
But it seems
crazy,
as if there's like
ambitious
sort
thing.
of a rush among these tech elites to create the dominant interface.
Mm-hmm.
Or the new leap forward or whatever, and you have Musk and he's done his posturing and blah blah blah, and now Zuckerberg is trying to have his media moment. But it seems like he's had several of these big media moments, like those stupid Ray-Ban glasses.
from a few years ago.
Yeah, with where they're like Kendall
Yeah.
Jenner will be your AI assistant or
Well,
whatever.
That was more based at like Instagram, and actually, even it's interesting, isn't it? Because the public attitude to that idea clearly has changed enough. Because Apple, that's a part of that product idea, right? The Apple Vision Pro. Like one of the use cases they used in the advert was that this guy was wearing it on his head whilst his son was playing, and this automatically created like these digital memories with depth and like everything else that you could then like go back to later.
Black Mirror episode style.
So do you know what I mean though? It's that the idea that you would be wearing this thing on your head that does have all of these crazy, not just even a camera,
but even
like
then I think about it,
crazy multi-sensor cameras.
But this is kind of this is where it's going at the same time, because it's like this is like, you know, the amount of friends I have who have integrated AI into their workflow somehow. The idea that so many of our processes are going to be eventually mediated by some form of technology, or we're going to use technology to kind of streamline, you know, TDM in a lot of really interesting ways. Like that's inevitable. What I'm interested in is like, who's going to be the one who's like on top or whatever, whose model, whose vision is going to sort of win out, because it's quite clear where things are headed. But exactly who is going to be the one to execute it is scary. But what terrifies me as well is that we're living in the world and the minds of these like techno elites who like Jung criticized pretty heavily, especially because Jung got like a pretty thorough liberal arts education, and he sort of talked about how like learning the humanities and being well-rounded in that sense makes you more concerned with like humankind and, you know, things that are beneficial for humankind. But then if you just sort of focus on math and science and STEM and stuff like that, it creates men who repress all of the unconscious content in favor of like the purely rational.
Of course.
And like that's kind of why technology serves the same function. It suppresses like the unconscious in favor of like, you know, rational functions or rational aims. And like doing that is kind of dangerous in a way. And like that's kind of what terrifies me about people like Zuckerberg and his cheerleaders in the media like Lex Friedman, is that these tend to be the sorts of people that aren't like very psychologically well-rounded, and the technology they create is sort of a reflection of their
Lex
psyches.
I don't think seems unhinged or unbalanced, and Lex seems like he's a fairly balanced dude.
Well, not Lex, more Zuckerberg. Like for instance, Facebook started, it's no accident because Facebook started as like a thing to rate women.
Yeah.
And he's somebody who obviously felt incredibly insecure in his school days.
Mate, my brother showed me that website. Well, there was like, because it started just as a Harvard thing, didn't it?
Yeah.
But then I think someone clearly kind of either copied that website, or there was another version of that website that was just on the internet, just for everyone.
Yeah.
And so like everybody uploaded pictures on it and stuff. And you would just literally, as soon as you got on the website, you'd say if you were like a man or if you were straight and whatever the fuck, and then it would just show you shitloads of pictures, and you would just fucking rate people. And you could upload pictures of yourself and then see how people had rated
Oh my
you and
god!
Shit. And I even think that maybe he even did the latter as well, because he's quite a vain.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. The types of people who engage in that sort of thing are not psychologically, you know, balanced people, or they're the sorts of people that, you know, are, you know, obsessed with status, obsessed with, you know, popularity, obsessed with that sort of thing. And then is it a surprise that social media, as it sort of functions now, is like basically that psychology made manifest?
Yeah.
Because it comes from those sorts of people.
Yeah.
People who are aggrieved, who, you know, feel somewhat socially alienated, who are still really status obsessed, and who are still really like, you know, like
couldn't get social status in the normal quote unquote / old school way, so they had to make their own way.
Well, yeah, that's what's so cringe about
status.
Elon Musk and stuff, is because he's like a fucking like nerd who's trying really hard to be like a cool guy, and it's like we all know that you're a fucking nerd. And even the really contrived masculinity with like the jujitsu, like all this sort of tech bro, because the tech bro is now the new archetype of the masculine.
Yeah.
And they're like the highly coveted male, which I always am so confused about with like my female friends. the fact that like fucking a guy in tech is like really coveted or whatever. I'm like, what? Like, why?
Well, you lucked out then, didn't you?
Oh, shush. I wasn't looking for it. I'm not a hua.
Oh my goodness.
I lucked out. I'm joking. What was I saying? No, but that sort of archetype of masculinity is like, you know, this is sort of taken over sort of the traditional masculine role, the tech bro thing. And it's because it's like really like insecure men who are like, you know, wanting everyone to desperately like them and think that they're cool. And that's kind of the prevailing attitude on social media too, is people who are really desperately insecure, who desperately want the approval and attention of everyone else. So it kind of spreads in that sense. And like, that's kind of what worries me about figures like them, is that their pathology is kind of the world that we're living in, and it seems to just keep getting larger and larger.
Well, all the bad pathologies like get amplified. I feel like sometimes good philosophies and more wholesome, rounded, or maybe that's just my stupid like hippie brain. I feel like, you know, people like Terence McKenna had a second breath with the internet, and people like Alan Watts had a second breath with the internet. Somehow Robert Anton Wilson hasn't really fit in that little YouTube kind
it's upsetting
of
me
viral
as well.
kind of not motivational, but do you know what I mean? Like they put the music behind it, and it's this really great like philosophical talk about something kind of like abstract or whatever. And like somehow Robert Anton Wilson's never really made it on those YouTube playlists.
I wonder
but
why
still some
that
other
is.
really great thinkers have. So, but then have they become so popular that, you know, they're like Andrew Tate, and they had that kind of impact or influence in the same way in the internet, and probably like nobody in that kind of wholesome, actually kind of good for you realm has, arguably, because the internet kind of makes and amplifies negative reaction so much because it's so beneficial for advertisements and engagement and that kind of stuff. I'm trying to think. There's probably like someone really positive that is really popular and really big that I'm like not thinking about. Someone probably, some fucking like, you know, people would probably say Mr. Beast or something like that. Do you know what I mean? But I wouldn't really. He's not a philosopher. He's not someone that like.
Well, yeah, he
talks
kind
about-
of is. He's trying to sort of tout
like
this like quasi effective altruism sort of thing.
Kind of, yeah,
He's,
but
you
not
know,
in like not in like a actually kind
not
of
in an
like a
overt,
scammy fucking
not in
way,
an overt
though.
way. It's sort of covert, but there is sort of, he does sort of tout a philosophy behind his charitable quote unquote works or whatever.
Well, it's sort of like just keep trying, persevere, do your best, and learn from your mistakes. That's
And not just that, the idea is make as much money, because that's the idea behind effective altruism, is making as much money as you possibly can is actually morally good, because then you can do the maximum good.
Yeah.
So it's this sort of like crypto bro, high risk, high reward altruism.
Yeah, I don't know.
Bullshit, basically.
I don't know about all that. It all turned out to be a bit of a way for people just to justify making a shitload of money and then not actually supporting any causes and doing any of that. But if you're like forgetting to do that second bit.
Yeah.
Like, wasn't there even people that like pledged? Oh no, that was fucking Amber Heard, wasn't it? Where she like, I pledged the money.
Oh yeah,
to some fucking
the
cause or whatever the fuck.
To the ACLU.
And they were like, okay, are you going to pay us that money? He's like, I pledged the money. It's just like, it's gross to talk about it, isn't it, in public? So let's just leave it there. Like, everyone's trying to keep you accountable.
I'm going to do
for
that.
Shit.
I'm going to forge a new identity as a philanthropist and make...
I pledged $2 billion
exactly.
to, the Heart Foundation or whatever the fuck.
Just pledged it. But yeah, that's kind of the thing, is like, So
you're not excited to be like LiDAR scan, like put into Skyrim?
No, not particularly. No.
I would be well up for trying it. It looks like it would be a lot of fun.
Of course you would.
I don't know how it gets all of the hair. Like because
like
if it's just
really
the band like that, how does it kind of like, it would only see this little bit of my hair. So how would it kind of understand that I have like these luscious long curly locks?
If it doesn't get
do all of that?
If it doesn't get my twists like accurate, then I can accuse it of racism.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Be great.
But no, I feel like if that does do a lot in the capacities that they are talking about, though, in terms of communication in a meaningful and in-depth way.
Yeah.
I feel like easy access to video calls definitely made long distance relationships. And
now you
keeping
can
in touch with people.
jack off with each
Well,
other.
not just keep jack off with each other, like things
now
like
you can
that.
jack
But
off with each other.
no, but like
in
genuinely,
in 3D rather than just like awkwardly on camera.
I've had to travel lots for work.
Yeah, and you like
Isn't
get
it-
your dick out as soon as the camera.
okay. I mean, we don't need to go there, do we? We
Now
don't
we
need to
can-
put me on the creep sheet.
Now
do
we can. I think you belong on the creep sheet.
I don't think we need to.
I think you kind
get
of
me
do.
fucking credits on the creep sheet.
I
dude.
think that you do
Okay.
belong on the, you'd have many links.
But-
Way
but-
more links than fucking.
But
what's his
isn't
name?
the video calls? Doesn't that make it so much easier and better
For someone to
When-
see like an uncanny valley 3D rendering of like I feel
I don't think
self-conscious
it's uncanny
enough.
valley. I think it's actually. I think it's gone past that.
I
don't
think you
it's
just
in the
want to
uncanny
look like
valley.
a fucking Red Dead Redemption character. I think that's been your dream since you played it. You want to be Arthur Morgan.
I mean, that is.
You want to be able to pimp out your avatar with like some cool cowboy gear,
That's not untrue, but it's also like I think that
some cool cowboy drip.
I think depending on how accessible you could make something like that, because the whole hardware that it's linked to is very much that it is this essentially screen in front of your eyes that it can project a new type of reality onto, and so that layer of hardware is still totally mandatory for that kind of. I'm trying to think of like how you make it as easy as a FaceTime.
Yeah,
Where
yeah,
you would
yeah, yeah.
hold like, or it wouldn't even, I don't know, some crazy future shit where you wouldn't even hold something up to your face. But in the world that we live in now, where you have your phone, it has these depth cameras and other things in it that people don't really know about.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, would it be possible to literally have just your phone and get some kind of image like that out of it? I remember I was trying out some other streaming kind of software that was geared towards like music performance and that kind of thing. I forget the name now, if I'm completely honest, because and it was quite hard. I didn't really do a stream with it. It was like you had to build 3D environments and all this quite complex stuff. But it did have a feature where essentially your phone, if it was an iPhone, etc., beyond, because the front camera does have this depth mode in it that people don't know about. Because it's just used for fucking selfies or like
TikToks, yeah.
you know, like
Yeah.
it was able to take me and use my face as a 3D asset within the world. So my face could be like huge, and I could like project fucking graphics like through my body.
Yeah, but all
and
that stuff that's like data
you know?
that's like being harvested. Because even TikTok does that. I don't know why I didn't even know this, but like I watched like some of the TikTok documentary.
I'm sure they use all the depth stuff for all the filters and stuff.
Yeah,
like
as
that.
soon as you use the filter, it takes your facial data.
Yeah, yeah.
And it has like a system that it ranks like your fucking qualities according to your face. According to some weird face reading metric that is like unknown to
the TikTok phrenology.
Yeah, the TikTok phrenology, basically. You're getting mapped onto the TikTok
It
phrenology.
can figure out how to get those puppy dog ears to sit on your head just right, because
It's
it's
like this one.
categorized your skull and your dimples in the
It's
way
like-
that it deems necessary to put the filters on you.
It's like this one is low IQ.
Oh my god,
No dog errors for you.
That's right. Should we have a little check of the chat? And
Yeah,
then,
go
and then sign it off, because I know that you've got works tomorrow. So have I
Yes.
actually have got a lot of stuff to do tomorrow as well.
Yes.
There's an impact on the sober community with the whole Russell Brand story too. 12 steps, integrity, rigorous honesty, and all.
Wow. That's what I'm
Oh,
saying.
dear.
Psychological guilt, we need to find a way of dealing with it. Because even if it's dealt with legally and morally, it still hangs around and just like fucking spreads towards everything. And it's really toxic and really fucked up. Like,
That's the scene as well. That when Lex is in that white space and I said, look like the Matrix, Jay George just said, welcome to the desert of the real.
yeah,
that's the
that is
fucking
it. That's
scene.
the scene.
Fucking
We're
genius.
definitely in the desert of the real right now.
Silent Hill with this thing
Why
would
didn't-
kill people IRL. Yeah, dude,
Yeah.
that would be fucking nuts.
Yeah, that would be nuts.
As long as you keep your Illuminati mushroom trip background in the metaverse. Yeah, that would be as long.
I'm glad you like it. And
Yeah,
I'm
there
glad
we
you
go.
noticed
There we go.
that we spruce things up around here.
Wanting to be liked is something I can relate, but it can hold your life back in really awful ways. Yeah,
Big time.
It's like a It's both like a positive and a negative urge in a lot of ways. Like it's a positive urge.
Said like a true Sagittarius. Jesus.
Well, it is because a positive urge because you need to have some kind of urge to like socialize with people and build connections and do stuff. And it is a negative urge as well because if you put too much emphasis on what other people think and all this kind of stuff, then it's going to drive you crazy.
Yeah, that's true. Very true.
I want celebrities to be a little wild again, like of Dirty Bastard and Iggy Pop.
Well,
Yeah,
I mean,
man.
influencers have their own wild sagas now, but to me, it's just tedious.
Is Logan
Like,
Paul
anytime-
as wild as Hunter S. Thompson?
Maybe Logan Paul is the new Hunter S. Thompson.
No, don't
You
be
just have to like
insulting.
surrender to the new paradigm. Jake.
Don't be insulting.
Maybe
sweetheart.
you haven't gotten the vibe shift yet.
I haven't gotten the
yet.
vibe shift.
No, you're still wearing a Bob
Oh,
Marley
dear.
t-shirt. How 20th century of you, Jake?
Oh well.
Don't you know that the Zoomers are already screaming carousel, carousel towards, and we're baby millennials, and we're like, look, man, we're not even turned 30 yet, and they're like, no, carousel. they're what would they call? They call us soy-lennials.
Soy-lennials.
Yeah.
How witty.
How wonderfully witty. And that's like the weird thing is like fucking, you know, the fucking Zoomers are incredibly fucking cruel towards millennials, like really, really like angry. I don't remember being that angry at Gen X.
No, not at all. Not at
In
all.
fact, I thought they were cool.
Yeah.
Like I thought it was really cool or whatever.
Most of my interests are things from the
Yeah.
90s, which
Yeah.
I was technically alive in, but I
Yeah.
was also a baby. So I didn't actually experience any of those things firsthand, like Pantera, The Matrix, like, like a bunch of shit. Bunch of shit. So it's just sort of like, a great admiration, but at the same time, it does feel like a culture that I'm pretty cemented in.
Yeah,
in a
yeah,
lot of
yeah.
ways.
Millennials are cringe. Don't get me wrong.
Skateboarding, like there's all of this 90s shit.
Yeah.
that I'm super into.
Yeah, that's true.
It's like it's kind of my generation, but it's also really, I guess, the noughties or like the kind of early 2010s would technically be my generation.
But then now the naughties are on trial along with Russell Brand. Like the naughties are now like, lad culture, lads mags,
Lads mags were a total thing.
like all of these things. Wait, we have to explain what lads mags are to our American audience.
They are like Playboy. They are the inventors of lad mags.
But we had like really crude, because Playboy at least had like high-minded articles once in a while. We had crude ones called Zoo and Nuts.
Yeah,
and
that's true. I mean, yeah,
and things
even
like that.
thinking about it, calling a lads mag zoo is not cool, is it?
Has Jake had a feminist awakening?
Like that just feels like a little bit mean, doesn't it?
I don't think that's why it's called Zoo. I'm not sure. I thought
a
it was 'cause
magazine.
it's sexy, it's animalistic or whatever. I don't think it's like,
but what? And we're
this is a-
showcasing you the animals in the zoo. Look at all these pretty animals in the zoo.
I don't know if
I feel like that is not great.
but
if I'm
you can
honest.
still jack off to it though.
Yeah.
Is it at the misogyny level where it would be hard for you to jack off
Plus,
to?
those were basically porn mags as well, Nuts and Zoo. Like, they were just sort of like, you know what I mean? Versus, like, a lads mag was more like an FHM or a stuff magazine,
I have no idea.
which would have, like, a tasteful, lady in a lingerie showcasing some kind of car or, like, a gadget or something. But that's very old school. That's very old school.
And it comes from a bad culture that's now being stigmatized
I don't
along
know.
with Russell Brand and
I-
everything that came out of that era of
I enjoyed
male
Stuff
culture.
magazine. I've got to be honest.
That's because you're toxic.
I'm toxic.
You're toxic. And you're 3 seconds away from ending up on the fucking creep sheet.
One more video call with your wang out, and you're on the fucking creep sheet. Is that the warning?
That is the warning.
That's the warning
Jake.
that's been bestowed upon
I'm gonna
me.
do like the This Is Sparta scene, but it's like, this is Barbie Land.
Just kick me onto the creep sheet.
Kicked you onto the creep sheet.
Oh dear.
Well, guys, it's been wonderful hanging out with you guys tonight, and we will catch you again next week.